Today, it's a wild and woolly shootout featuring the bucking Broncos of pulling. And don't show up at this showdown unless you're packing plenty of ponies. Coming up next, the steeds of the two-wheel drive class square off in Indianapolis. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the all-stars of the NTPA, the National Tractor Pullers Association. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. Today, the action comes from the Indy Super Pull at the Indiana State Fairgrounds Coliseum here in Indianapolis. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee. We are ready for the most popular class in all of pulling, two-wheel drive. A whole lot of horsepower, and this class is really dominated by two engines, the Keith Black-built Hemi and the Chevy-based Arius. And to talk more about how that relates to today's competition, here's my colleague, Army Armstrong.
Aries and Keith Black Chrysler Hemi engine. Oh, if they could only talk, they'd have a lot of tales to tell because both of them deal solely in raw horsepower. What you're looking at now is LD Nation's Arius engine. The history of the engine is kind of unique. It was designed specifically to make horsepower. Originally in the sport of boat racing, it's an all-aluminum version, over 500 cubic inches, light, makes buku horsepower. From drag boat racing, it found its way into drag racing and now is making a name for itself in the pulling sport, teaming up with LD Nation. He has won this event quite a few times with this engine combination. The other side of the ledger is a Chrysler Hemi engine. In the mid-50s and 60s, Keith Black out of California started doing a lot of research and development with the Chrysler Corporation, designed some super heads for the Chrysler Hemi engine. And between the Chrysler Hemi of Keith Black and the Nick Aries engine, they have literally dominated the pulling sport, especially in the two-wheel drive category. Well, they're both going to be in competition tonight. Aries will be represented by LD Nation. The Chrysler Hemi will be represented by Wayne RAUSCH. And for you, this is good because both drivers drive the open-body 23 Fords. So you're going to be able to see everything that happens as these two behemoths of horsepower pull in the Indy Super Pull. Back to you, Gary Lee.
Well, Army, here are the numbers for this two-wheel drive class. A sled weight, 50,000 pounds, full pull, 230 there. Maximum engine size, 650 cubic inches. We talked about those two types of engines, but our first puller utilizing a Ford. Now, this is a Ford Aerostar van. Dave DEPPE is the first puller. But this is nothing like a van we might get at the rental counter.
No, Dave DEPPE teamed up with the GTS fiberglass people out of Wentzville, Missouri, and they came up with a fiberglass replica of an Aerostar van. Why would you do that when weight's so important? It's very simple. The weight he does not have to carry in the body now because it's a fiberglass replica. He could put somewhere else in the truck to make it work to his advantage, Gary.
638 cubic inch shotgun Ford engine, third in the 92 Grand National Point Standings. Here he is. Let's see if he can pull it out of here.
He's leaning on it big time. He's got a fire, Gary. Look
fire inside, yes. As he raises that fiberglass body, he'll be bailing out. Well, no, apparently not.
The NTPA crew right on the spot.
Yeah, the safety crew is right there. He raised the fiberglass body so they could get to the flames. Now he gingerly climbs out. Oh, what a scary moment, though.
Man, I would have been coming out a whole lot quicker than that, Gary.
Let's take a look again. Down toward the end of the run, he pops something in the engine compartment. You can see the flames, and immediately he stops and lifts the body. There you can see the flames inside the plexiglass, inside the fiberglass body.
Yeah, he had a little bit. Once the fire started, it got into the oil, Gary.
Once again, he was in no hurry to bail out. Apparently, he wasn't that concerned. Let's go down and talk to Dave DEPPE.
Dave, you have any idea what caused it to let go like that? It just hand grenaded.
No, I don't think we hurt her on the bottom end. We just had a fuel leak on the top. I don't think we hurt her. We had a fuel leak is what it was.
Well, obviously, he knew what was going on, and we didn't. He remains very calm. We'll come back as they clean up this Massport competition from Indy. Welcome back to the Indy Super Pull at the Indiana State Fairgrounds Coliseum, a part of the Copenhagen Skull Pulling Series. Gary Lee along with Army Armstrong as our competition resumes now after the Dave DEPPE fire. This is Steve Olson in the Miller High Life, a 1934 Ford delivery truck with the big Keith Black Hemi. He's a teammate of Roger Simon, who drives the Simon Says entry.
Matter of fact, Roger's standing in front of the vehicle. Now you look over the left side of the vehicle, you can see him back it up. Steve is actually going backwards by looking forward. Simon is the man responsible to line him up. Now they rely on the Hemi engine. We talked earlier about the different types of engine. This is the Chrysler Hemi that they run in this vehicle, but look at the location of the engine. All the way to the front of the vehicle. Power goes to the rear wheels, but the engine is far forward as possible for balance.
This is a pretty machine. Let's see if it works as well as it looks. Pretty good balance right there. Now he lifts the front. Oh, look at this. He takes it out of there.
Out of here.
Oh,
Big
what
time.
a great run. There's your full pull officially for Steve Olson. Steve's a three-time Indy qualifier, a former four-wheel drive puller. He also finished fourth in 92 NTPA Grand National point standings. And look once again at what a full pull looks like. It's great balance right here, Army, until the sled starts to move.
Yeah, the horsepower, as the sled comes up, the weight comes on the sled, the front end goes up, he makes constant horsepower.
And here is Steve Olson.
6 feet 7 inches past the full pull mark, and I think he could have gone on further. That thing was making horsepower.
Well, we're going to try and do it for Miller and Cool Superchargers, and Simon says pulling team. We're going to go back and get the other truck out and see what we can do with that one. I'd like to thank everybody that's here.
Well, a pretty truck and a pretty pull. Now coming up, a real crowd favorite. Here's the professor. Here's Wayne RAUSCH, a former Ohio State University professor in the 23 Ford, also utilizing a Keith Black Hemi engine.
Wayne has been around. Every sport has a guy like this. He is just a class individual. There's a lot of good people in the sport, but Wayne RAUSCH seems to go to the head of the class. Nicest guy in the world. You throw that green flag out there, then he gets to be a bad guy.
Over 150 career wins, a three-time national points titleist. But he's never won here at the Indy Super Bowl. Could this be tonight? Well, it's going to take a pull-off if that happens, because the gauntlet has been laid down. Is he going to take it out of here?
Yeah, he's
Look
out
at
there.
this. Another full pull.
Look at his wife.
RAUSCH.
Yeah, his wife is excited. They've got an agreement. If he wins the thing, she'll do a backflip. We'll tell you about that a little bit later, but he's still in the program.
I want to see that as we take a ride with the sled cam at a full pull in the 23 Ford.
This guy has been an ambassador for this sport for many years. He and Ron Boggs and Steve Boggs, the Boggs brother drag racers, make the horsepower for this vehicle.
He almost drove that thing out to Hancock County. Here's Wayne RAUSCH.
235 for the Chrysler Hemi, RAUSCH. This is going to be a tough one before the night's over. I got a feeling there's some other bad boys back here that are going to get in this pull-off.
There definitely are, but Steve Boggs has been working on these motors. He's got a new combination in that worked at Houston in November, and I feel pretty good about it, feel pretty happy about it.
Is that the same Steve Boggs that does all the drag racing engines we hear about on the NHRA alcohol circuit?
That's right. I spent the week with him working on this motor. He does Bartone Brothers and Chuck Cheeseman and a bunch of them.
Well, let's hope Mrs. RAUSCH limbers up, because if he wins it, I want to see this backflip. Jeff Huff comes up next in the flashback. 1990 Chevy S10 with a big Keith Black Hemi.
He's out of Pennsylvania. He runs a Humco chassis. Now, you know, the manufacturers get involved in this sport now. This is an S10 on a Humco chassis. Remember that terminology. RAUSCH runs an Engler chassis on a 23 Ford. So a lot of different people trying to get involved in the sport to gain the exposure that will help them sell their product. That's what it's all about.
Army, watch the balance there as he comes down the lane. It looks like he may pull it out of here too. There it is, another full pull. We'll be here all evening with the pull-off.
Tell you what, these guys have figured the track out. You do that by watching a guy in front of you. Right now, the track is holding the horsepower. The question is, will it stay that way?
Well, there's a young fan with the ear protectors on. He is into the action, and we have plenty of it here from the Indiana State Fairgrounds this evening.
If there's any pressure right now, it would be on this man. He's been here before. He's won. He's a long way from home. He has been holding a hot hand all year long on the NTPA circuit. But he has to make a full pull in order to even come back and compete with these other guys that have done the same thing. LD has got some pressure on his shoulders, Gary.
And his wife looking on, about to record this for future memories. The 23 Ford T-Bucket, the Arius engine, LD Nation. He needs the full pull. He won the Indy Super Bowl in 82, 89, 91, and 92. And look at this.
Big time.
Look at this. He pulls it out of there. Full pull.
Right now, Nation's exactly where he wants to be. He knows he's coming back for the pull-off.
One more look now. LD Nation, the 23 bucket tee.
Boy, he's got a hand on this track. And speaking of the track has come to these guys, Gary. It is holding all the horsepower they can put to it. The sled tops out, man, he goes on.
One more full pull. Let's go down trackside and talk to LD Nation.
Well, LD, you're still a player in this thing. You go at 235. You're going to have to come back. Is there anybody else back there that can get this pull off?
Yeah, we got another truck back there yet can get the pull off, and I just hope this track stays together. It's kind of breaking up awful bad now, but we just have to see what happens.
Well, these fans here tonight at the Indiana State Fairgrounds really getting their money's worth. We have had 4 full pulls, so we're going to have a big-time pull-off here at the Coliseum. The Super Bowl continues. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Indiana State Fairgrounds here in Indianapolis. We have one last puller attempting to make it a 5-way pull-off, and that will be Roger Simon in the Simon Says Dodge Dakota, featuring the big Keith Black Hemi. So far, we have 4 drivers in the pull-off. He will try to be the 5th. He's a 3-time Indy qualifier, 2nd place last year. In fact, he is a teammate to Steve Olson, who is already in the pull-off.
I was going to say, Steve Olson came back and told him something to be looking for in the track. That was Olson lining him up. They kind of swap back and forth with each other and help each other during the pull. Green flag out, pressure's on him. Man, if you're going to stay alive in this one, you've got to make a full pull in this first round of elimination.
That represents a pull of 230 feet or better. Watch the weight box.
Dodge Dakota looking good. Got the ground speed. Yeah.
I don't know, Army. I think he's shy. Yeah,
Oh,
look at that.
wow.
7 inches shy of a full pull. 229 and 5 for Roger Simon. So we'll have a 4-way pull-off featuring Steve Olson in the Miller High Life, the former Ohio State University professor Wayne Roush in the yellow Model T. Also Jeff Huff in flashback, and LD Nation will also be back for the pull-off. But before we have the pull-off, Army, let's go back and show some highlights from earlier in the competition. Here's the Buckeye hauler.
Yeah, he was really hooked up on the starting line end of the track, but it started to get away from him down the finish line. The truck had a tendency to hook real bad to the left. Keep an eye on our cameraman here. He earned his pay on this one.
Well, he's using a zoom lens. He's about 500 feet away from
No, he was using some Converse tennis shoes there. Floyd Hilton came out with Floyd's toy. Now, this guy's notorious. He is famous in the sport. Everything he owns is purple.
This is a 69 Porsche with a big Arius engine in it.
He didn't make the show. He won a 217 with an 8. He'll be back another time, another day.
Another purple creation.
Doug Christensen. Yeah, the pack rat. He comes out with Chevrolet for horsepower, trying to find a place to put the horsepower down the middle. Didn't work for him. 220 and an 11 for Doug.
Now we are ready for the pull-off. I like the looks of this machine. The Miller High Life Special, Steve Olson, the first of our 4 pullers. Of course, the sled army has been reweighted.
Well, what they're going to do is try to make the sled catch the pullers earlier in the field. A 230-foot track where the box topped out at about 225 last time. They'll try to top it out or make the maximum weight hit them at about 215 to 220 feet. Miller High Life stand delivery right down the middle. Good camera shot, Gary. Look at this. That's another good roll.
Excellent, excellent pull. Crew is happy on that one. Let's check the official distance. 222 and 1 in a pull-off. That is excellent.
I tell you what, he's ready to ride out to these guys. They got to be sweating BBs if they still have to pull.
Here's a look at the veteran Wayne Roush. He will be the next up in the pull-off. But right now, let's go back trackside and talk to Steve Olson.
Steve, I want you to look at that scoreboard up there. Well, those numbers do it. 222.01.
I don't know. We got a lot of tough iron back there. It'll be a battle, but seemed like it was a pretty good pull. It'd been nice to maybe hooked up a little bit sooner off the starting line, but got to give a lot of credit to the people that help us do it.
Well, coming up is a guy the crowd would love to see in victory lane. Wayne Roush has won over 150 events in his career. However, He has never won the Super Pole here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds.
You know, if you follow the NTPA circuit, this is the one that everybody shoots for. These participants have to qualify just to get here. They just can't come in here. They got to qualify. Well, Roush qualified to get here. He's qualified to go into the finals by virtue of making that pull-off. Now, this is what it all comes down to. The track belongs to him. 320 feet long, 30 feet wide. He's got to go on the other side of 222. Gary, can he do it?
And also his wife, once again, if he wins it, she does a cartwheel.
That's the word we get.
I want to see that. I want to see the cartwheel. Yes, 225 and 10. 225 and 10. That is the new mark to beat.
Tell you what, Gary, that will be tough to beat because he hooked real hard to the left at the end of that run.
Let's watch the run again. The little yellow tee out of Dublin, Ohio.
Now notice the weight box starting to move on the sled. Good camera shot. It starts to go further forward. The further it gets to the front, the heavier it gets to pull. Good camera shot, fellas. That shows what the sport is all about.
Oh, yeah, but Wayne almost outguessed the sled that time with the gear ratio. Here's Wayne.
Wayne, 225. You're the man. You got to dodge 2 more bullets. Can you do it?
It's going to be tough to do. I let it drift a little bit too much to the left there, but it was a good run. We'll just take our chances.
Let me ask you a question. In this pull-off now, is the track getting better going on? What I'm saying, did you run on a better track than the 2 guys behind you?
It felt better than it did the first time, yeah. That doesn't answer your question, but the first run, it was little slippery coming out of the hole, and this felt better.
Well, Wayne leads now, but we'll see Jeff Huff and LD Nation make their runs in the pull-off as the Super Pole continues from Indianapolis. Welcome back to the Indy Super Pole, a part of the Copenhagen Skull pulling circuit. The pull-off now continues with Jeff Huff in the flashback Chevy S10 pickup with the Keith Black Hemi. He was a 2-time Indy qualifier and one of 4 here in our pull-off.
You know, I just noticed something. Jeff has got the only thing that really looks like a truck out there. He got 2 23Ts. Wayne Roush sitting in the lead, cross fingers. He's kind of, that's how important this win is to his. The sedan delivery, the Miller High Life sedan delivery, kind of radical looking vehicles, but this guy comes out with something that every 16-year-old kid in his mind could take to the local drive-in on Saturday night, and he is in the finals, Gary.
And that is the popular vehicle really of choice now with the youngsters, the modified pickup trucks.
Oh, exactly, yeah. If you don't believe it, ask the guys in Detroit. Here we go. Going after Roush.
One last shot at 225 and 10. That's the distance to beat. He's not going to do it. He will not do it. Reaction there from the professor. Wayne Roush looks on it at 221 and 5. 221.5. Now we take a look at the front of the engine of the LD Nation. He will be our last in the pull-off, the last to take a shot at 225 and 10. Let's go down and talk to Jeff Huff.
Got a 221 and 5. That's not a bad run.
No, we'll take that. That's pretty good for a truck. This is a state-level truck. We're running with the big boys now.
You're running up front with the big boys. Keep up the good work.
Okay, thank you very much.
Talk about running with the big boys. Wayne Roush is really down on power.
Yeah, he and Steve Boggs have teamed up, and they have an engine about 100 cubic inch smaller than everybody else, but they're further down the track, Gary.
LD Nation now hooking up for his final pull, the final puller in the pull-off here at the State Fairgrounds. And Army has handed the mic over to Wayne Roush, who is now leading, and we're going to let Wayne call this run by LD Nation.
He's tightening the chain. He's ready to go. LD will probably come out pretty hard. That's probably what it's going to take. He's revving it up now. You probably won't hear much.
Well, the RPM's up now. LD Nation, the last guy with a shot at Wayne Roush. Let's see. I don't think he's going to do it. Here's Wayne again.
I don't know. It's going to be close. He came out nice. The front end lifted nice. He got a little bit high. He drifted to the left a little bit like I did, only he corrected and stayed over the better dirt. That might have given him an advantage.
Waiting now for the official distance. No, he doesn't do it at 2:23.9, which means the professor, Wayne Roush, wins for the first time ever the Indy Super Pole at 2:25.10 in the pull-off, which means hopefully we'll get a chance to see his wife do that cartwheel. LD Nation finishes second. And third, Steve Olson. Rounding out the top six, we have Jeff Huff in fourth, Roger Simon is fifth, and Dave Deppe is sixth. We'll go back now to victory lane, and here is Wayne Roush.
Well, Wayne, congratulations to you. I'm afraid I might lose my job. You did an awfully good job telling us about that run there.
Well, I was kind of excited. It was kind of hard to talk about his run because I was trying to hold him back, you see, because LD's awful tough.
Well, I'll tell you tonight, you proved that you were too. You know, but you always have your true credit to the sport. Congratulations to you.
Well, again, I want to give credit to Steve Boggs. I spent all week with Steve. We put new pistons, new rod bolts in the yellow truck, and he changed the combination on it, and it's working.
Amen.
Well, the fans here at the Indy Super Bowl really got a treat. A four-truck pull-off, and for the first time in his very long and illustrious career, we have a victory for Wayne Roush here at the Indy Super Bowl. Our congratulations to Wayne. Uh-oh, here comes his wife. Is she going to do it? Is she going to do the cartwheel as promised? Mrs. Wayne Roush in her own form of victory celebration. There it is. For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week on Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news of an exciting home video release from Diamond P Sports.